Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. In the spirit of the trees, in the spirit of living nature, with deep gratitude to all of our ancestors who have brought us to the present moment, I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising with particular fondness, because this is going to be the beginning of a two-day program on trees. As you all know, I have trees as my background. I love trees. I feel a deep synergy with trees as we breathe in and breathe out. The trees breathe with us. They're conscious. They communicate. They feel. They have the same neural networks that we have in our brains. And these same neural networks can be seen in the farthest clusters of galaxies as the entire universe coheres as one. And humanity has forgotten that. And we are now in a process of remembering the unity of being. As Plotinus said, the entire universe breathes together. And so today we're going to be contemplating trees with two tree whisperers, Jim Conroy and Basia Alexander, who have been on Humanity Rising a number of times before, who travel around the United States healing trees and tending to trees and communicating to trees and preparing trees for the extraordinary challenges of climate change. As you all will remember, several weeks ago, I was down in the vicinity of Yosemite for the Washburn fire, and I reported on it every day. And as we speak today, again, there's another fire, the Oak Fire, that is threatening Yosemite, the Sequoia National Forest, with even greater fire, higher temperatures, and has already, in just a few days, consumed more acreage than the Washburn fire did several weeks ago. We've seen fires burning trees in Europe, in Spain, in Portugal, in southern France, in Greece, in India. Trees have been burning on the national and international news for several weeks now. So we want to just send our love and our care to the trees. And I'd like to now welcome our two tree whisperers, Basia and Jim, who will just lead us in our opening meditation after saying a few words, and then they'll make a presentation on what humans can do with and for trees at this very precarious moment as climate change spins out of control. So Jim and Basia, welcome. And I turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim. It's so great to see you again. And thank you for having us on Humanity Rising and Ubiquity University. This is a great honor. And this presentation and tomorrow's as well is really now the core of our message. This is the most important thing we have to say at this point in time to humanity, to the trees. And we're so excited to be able to do this for you.
And this is a key time right now, because as Jim said, there's heat waves all over the globe. There's fires all over the globe. Okay, there's drought in much of the globe. Okay, and this is a key time. Is for all the trees and all the plant kingdom. Okay, they need our help. Okay, and we're going to give you an opportunity today to actually do that. We'll show you how you can be part of helping those trees. Okay, actually, individually, you can do some things, and we're going to show you that today. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, so let's share our screen. There we go. Okay, so be the tree. How consciousness-based approach might be humanity's last hope for a livable planet. So a few words about us. I champion partnering with nature, and I show people how to get there. If you want more information about me, go to the About menu at partnerwithnature.org.
And I save trees by healing trees from the inside out. That's what I do. Okay. And if you want more information about me, go to the About menu at thetreewhisperer.com.
So this talk is sponsored today by the BioBalia Institute, and we're announcing our brand new school, BioBalia Institute School. We're doing this on the Teachable platform. So the link is not a www link. It's https://biobaliainstituteschool.teachable.com. Sorry, but that's just how they do it. So we're co-founders. We have a publishing company, and we're co-authors of 7 books. We've got lots of experience, but here's the important thing. We've been developing these consciousness-based collaborative healing methods really for the last 20 years, and it's all just come together fairly recently. And we're committed to use those and to invite people to use those in partnering with nature and restoring a livable planet. But the most important thing to know about us is this.
We are tree lovers. And this is us by a giant sequoia in Calaveras State Park in California. We love that. It's 2004 years old. I'll have you know. I got to give it exact age. Otherwise it yells at me. Okay.
So if you're a tree lover and you can, please type yes into the chat. We'd love to know that. So we begin with this question: can humanity restore livability? Well, we know that practical actions are necessary. Yes, we need to reduce emissions, stop pollution, have technological advances. But here's the problem with those. They're not going to heal already stressed, declining trees, forests, or ecosystems.
And again, this will be an opportunity for you today. We will give you some mindful methods, healing whispers / mindful methods that you can do with the trees that will help heal the trees, but also help protect them from these climate extremes.
Well, Jim is so exciting. He's already telling you about the other half of what it's going to take to restore livability. So here's the other half. It's these 3 points of what's needed to restore a livable planet. It's people declaring, I am a partner with nature. We'll talk about a little bit more about this. And then it's people's direct and experiential connection with trees, plants, and forests. And then using consciousness-based collaborative healing methods. And we mean something quite special by that. And we suggest that these 3 things might very well be humanity's last hope for a livable planet. Why? Well, you know, all those practical and technological things, they might not work in time. They might not work. So we think it's individuals doing these things in consciousness that's going to make the difference.
And we believe, you know, again, it's a global emergency. We're talking about this. And, you know, you can heal trees, then help trees protect themselves from these climate extremes. It's a global opportunity. What we'd like is that all people around the globe are out there saying these whispers or these mindful methods that we're going to give you today, or tell you where to find them today. And if everybody will do that, that will definitely help the trees out, help bring them back to health, and it will also help them protect themselves from these climate extremes.
So today's agenda, a few words about being a partner with nature. We're going to invite you into a connection experience meditation, and then we'll talk to you about communicating and collaborating. Tomorrow, we'll talk to you a little more about co-creating, but today, how collaborating works and what we mean by consciousness-based collaborative healing methods for the plant kingdom. We hope to give you an intellectual answer, an experiential understanding, and some practical actions you can do. Tomorrow's agenda, have another experience, see collaboration in action, and then touch on co-creating. So what do we mean by partnering with nature? Well, certainly learning information, that's always important, but we mean loving, having a deeper relationship, having new experiences like being the tree, doing new behaviors, asking questions, getting answers, and then healing and saving trees and plants so that we might all have a better future on this planet. So I am a partner with nature. We need to think about ourselves differently. Sure, we may love trees, love nature, but declaring that we're a partner takes it to the next level. And that's like slow dancing with a beloved. So when you slow dance, well, you're sensitive to your partner's movements. You know, there's a communication there, nonverbal communication very often. And so there's that sense of being together in something. And to do that, we recommend that we have to step out of the box of old paradigm thinking. So today's current paradigm of thought was started in the 17th century when science was being invented. And the nature of a paradigm is that everybody knows certain things are true. Like, well, everybody knows the earth is flat. That's how it was for so many centuries, right? So in this paradigm, everybody knows it's true that people can control, manipulate, and dominate nature, and that science makes me somehow superior to nature. Well, that's the sea that we've been living in for a long time. And this even continues in the face of contrary results. Well, now we're seeing that it's not working out, right? But still, there's this unimaginable way of thinking. The earth is alive. In an old paradigm, new ideas sometimes are unimaginable. Well, we say that we can move to this new paradigm. The earth is alive. People can partner with nature. But there's a challenge to do this because of that old paradigm. Many people are invisibly human-centric. So it's like water to the fish. We don't see that we're in this condition of, well, I want, I need, I think. It should be this way. My opinion is, I come first. And in some cases, for some people, there's a little arrogance around this. So we're suggesting something else. How to partner with nature, how to become nature-centric. It's to have connection experiences. So this is the meditation that we're inviting you into, to see through their eyes and learn to come from the plant's point of view, not just our own human point of view. To stand in their roots, be tree-centric, really take the perspective of the tree. To be the tree, to enter into its world and find out what its life is like. So I've created 5 easy, simple steps to experience connection. But let's not talk about them. Let's do them. So I invite you into this guided visualization. It'll be about 12 minutes long. So what happens for you? Well, sensory engagement, intuitive perception. We call this consciousness overlap and bioenergy overlap. And we're going to touch on a little science about this later on. Now, if during this connection experience you feel like, oh my gosh, nothing is happening, oh no, just breathe and relax into it. If you're actually uncomfortable, then stop. You may also enjoy a spiritual type experience as you overlap with the spirit of a tree. And that's up to you. So our recommendations is just forget anything that you know already. Allow yourself to have a personal experience, a unique experience. And don't judge yourself. don't judge what's happening. We declare this a no judgment zone. The logistics, well, it would be ideal if you could be outdoors with a tree. But if you're indoors, sit comfortably, quiet your phone. You can recall a favorite tree, look out the window, ask a houseplant to play along, and you can use my photos for inspiration. So we begin now. Settle into your chair and breathe. Just relax. Feel protected by your invisible helpers. You may open or close your eyes at any time as you feel comfortable. So take a moment to sigh. Breathe and sigh. Breathe and sigh. So in the first step of the connection experience, it's observation and appreciation. So if you're remembering your favorite tree, imagine viewing it as a whole first, in the height of its summer season. See it in its place. View its size, shape, branching. Is the canopy lush and full or sparse? Take a look at its leaves. See the shapes, shades of color. Go to the trunk. See a multitude of shapes and colors. Imagine touching, feeling the textures. Move your focus to the root area. Is the soil smooth or rocky? Moist or dry? Is there plenty of room, or is it limited? Your tree has a unique purpose, its own purpose for itself, not for you or anyone else, its own purpose in life. And your tree is trying to live the best it can where it is. So say in your heart, I appreciate your, and fill in the blank. And that leads easily into step 2 of the connection experience, caring or affection. Focus on that quality that you just appreciated about your tree. Breathe and smile. If your tree has some health issues or structural issues, a sense of sympathy or empathy may arise in you. You may sense a new and subtle feeling, or you may already have a deep caring and affection for the tree. Allow it to expand. For now, say in your heart, I am your friend and partner. If you go no further with the 5 steps of the connection experience, being the tree's friend and partner is the best thing that you can do. But let's go further. Step 3 of the connection experience is inner quiet. In other words, feeling calm and peaceful inside. So breathe comfortably, deeply, slowly. If you already have a method to reach inner peace, you may do that. Or you may imagine your own heart shining like the sun. Its brightness dissipates any clouds of concern. Imagine only bright sunshine inside of you and all around you. You might say to yourself something like, I am at peace. I am giving my attention to this tree. So you have a measure of inner quiet as we move into step 4, finding out what the tree's life is like. Your tree is a living being, so we always ask permission. In your heart, say quietly, I would like to get to know you. Is that okay? You'll probably feel a sense of calm. That means you have permission. It's unlikely, but if you feel disquiet or you hear a no, you may stop or move to another tree. Your heart's bioenergy field is radiating out beyond your physical body. The bioenergy field of the tree is also glowing and expanding. Both of your bioenergy fields overlap like water droplets in a pond. In that overlapping area, information can be shared and exchanged. You are being the tree. Say quietly to the tree, I would like to find out what your life is like. I'll begin by imagining that I am you. I imagine the cool of moisture enveloping the roots. I imagine feeling the sturdiness of the trunk. I imagine feeling flexibility in the branches. I imagine the warmth of the sun on the leaves. I imagine the breeze blowing through the canopy. Now let's start asking the tree some questions and receiving its answers. You may receive its answers as body sensations, feelings, thoughts, or metaphors. Words such as yes or no, or you may hear other words in your inner hearing. You may visualize images or colors. You might sense fragrances, and answers may come as knowings. So let's ask, what is it like to have birds landing in your branches on a sunny day? What is it like for a storm to blow your branches? What is it like for rain to fall on your root area? What is it like for the water and nutrients to go into your roots? Do you need to have a better connection between your roots and the tubes in your trunk? What is it like for that fluid to flow in a circulation tube all the way up to a tiny leaf? What is it like for that tiny leaf to grow? What is it like for that leaf to make food from sunlight? Do you need to make more food for yourself in all of your leaves? What is it like for the flow of fluids and food to move through all of your circulation tubes? Are there blockages in your circulation system? What is it like to live in the community of other trees? What is it like to live with other beings? And what is it like to stand in this one place for a lifetime? Take a deep breath, but hold on to that feeling. Your consciousness and the tree's consciousness are overlapping, so you can do step 5, exchanging messages. Open yourself to receive a message from your tree. Take the first thought, feeling, or idea you get, whether or not it makes sense. Now give a message to the tree. You might say, I care for you. In the 5th step, exchanging messages, the deep wisdom, spirit, and intelligence in your tree wants to be your friend. Your tree wants to tell you about its life and tell you about its health, especially in climate extremes. It may take a little more patience. You may have to return a few times. But if you're willing to take the first thing you get, to accept it as information from the tree or as a message for you, then you will gain confidence. Be sure to enjoy yourself. Have a good time. You're on your way to more personal inner peace and partnership with your tree and all of nature. So in your heart, say to your tree, I'll return, and thank you. Take a deep breath, relax your focus, stretch your back and shoulders, and return to your human reality. So we hope that you will share with us in an email to naturepartner@partnerwithnature.org. We'd love to know what message you received and what your experience was like. So let's move on. So the rest of our talk will be about what we mean by consciousness-based collaborative healing methods for the plant kingdom. We hope to give you both an intellectual answer, an experiential understanding, and we'll give you some practical actions that you can do. So let's move on.
So, trees everywhere are just generally not healthy. They might look green, okay, but they're generally not healthy. They're either got blockages, something not operating inside of the tree, something like that. So generally, especially with these climate extremes, causes a lot of blockages in trees. What do you look for if you know, when you're looking for, you know, is a tree healthy? Look at the top of the tree. You start seeing branches at the top of the tree or with no leaves or very small leaves. That's your first sign, okay? See, what you got to understand is that when a tree is sick, the first year it might lose 10% of its leaves. You won't really see that. Second year it loses another 10%. You won't see that. It might take several years before you see it, okay? 4 or 5 years. By then the tree is really sick. And then you start to see these things happening. And of course, like I said, some of the early signs will be those upper branches will have no leaves or very small leaves. Well, what causes stress in trees or causes the trees to be weak and stressed? Well, too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. Sounds familiar, right? With the conditions right now, especially too hot, too dry. Okay, multiple season stresses. Well, just like I said, too hot, too dry. Okay, very big problem all over the globe. That's multiple season stress. Multiple year would be a hot summer followed by an extremely cold winter. Then you have things like pollution, human damage, animal damage, etc. Okay, all of those cause stresses to trees.
If you email me at naturepartner@partnerwithnature.org, I'll be happy to send you this informational sheet about stress factors and practical things you can do.
We always put this in, okay? It's a little bit of practical information. Don't volcano mulch trees. People think they got to put mulch on trees and they dump it up as high as they can. Number one, it rots the bark on the tree. But most importantly, it suffocates the tree. The tree can't get enough air. Just, you know, if you want to put, as sometimes people want to put soil on a tree, they want to put a planter around a tree. Don't do that, okay? Planter, you know, they want to put bricks around it and there's something and then put soil in. That all hurts the tree, okay? Don't want to be doing those things. A half an inch of soil, okay. And half an inch of mulch, okay. But no more than that because it suffocates. Those roots need to breathe as well. So what happens when a tree is stressed? An example is that the circulation gets compromised. Well, when the circulation gets compromised, what's going on? Well, you get a reduction in water and nutrients absorbed by the roots. If that happens, then you have less water and nutrients going to the leaves to make food, photosynthesis. If you have less food, then you have less food produced in the leaves. Then you have reduced food going to the growing points, have reduced growth, okay, and then the tree goes into a decline cycle. Healing needs to occur on these trees from the inside out, not the outside in, from the inside out. That's what we're saying here. We need to differentiate on the outside versus from the inside out. And so, you know, in conventional approaches with trees currently, they work on the outside. Well, it's okay, but it's old mindset thinking, okay? Humans know best, okay? Doesn't honor nature's consciousness or wisdom, doesn't restore that inner health, doesn't strengthen that inner functionality, and doesn't reestablish community among trees. All right. I just a comment about that. You know, if you went to the doctor with a heart problem and the doctor told you to put first aid cream on your skin, wouldn't you begin to worry about it a little bit? That's it. He's telling you to do something on the outside, and you know you need something done on the inside. All right. That's what we're talking about here. And that's what our mindful methods are based on and our work is based on. So what we offer is in order to help these problems or heal these trees and give them a path to healing is consciousness-based collaborative healing methods for the plant kingdom. It's healing from the inside out. So what are the problems in trees? Well, look, you have decline, you have burning, you have species failure, big problem. Certain altitudes, certain species can't live anymore. Some of the species just can't even live at all at any altitude. Okay, burning, decline, and the biggest problem is new diseases and insects every day. Okay, well, what's really going on here? The trees are sick. They're more susceptible to the insects. It isn't that it's always new insects and diseases coming in. Well, what it is the trees are more susceptible to the insects and diseases. Nature's out of balance, and therefore the trees are attacked by it and hurt more by it. Okay, that's what's going on. And what do we do in those situations? We kill the insect. How about healing the tree on the inside? That's the most important thing. So what we're saying here is we can't solve these problems using the same kind of thinking we used when we created those problems, what Albert Einstein said. And that's what we're saying. It takes a higher level of thought to solve these problems. So we have to think differently, okay? Very, very important. So accept that trees are alive and even sentient beings. First of all, okay, the tree grows, it branches out, it leaves out, it fruits. It does this all with its own growth energy, okay? It's got that. It's a living being, okay? And we need to accept that.
So a little bit of science. Humans and plants produce bioenergy fields that can overlap. So you can take a look at these books and this link to the heartmath.org article called The Electricity of Touch. And so what we're saying is that a human bioenergy field and a plant bioenergy field overlap like water droplets in a pond. And in that overlapping area, information is shared and exchanged. And this, of course, involves using right brain intuitive skills, not so much left brain logic. Trees and plants are alive. They qualify in the 3 definitions of a living system. They operate in feedback loops and network patterns of organization. They undergo dynamic change and maintain a stable structure, and they show intelligence or cognition. The Society of Plant Signaling and Behavior, this is a group of scientists, have this on their mission statement. Plants do sophisticated cost-benefit analysis. They take action to mitigate environmental insults, and they're capable of refined recognition of self and non-self, and more. They acknowledge how intelligent trees and plants are.
Humans have a brain. You also have a consciousness, okay? But a plant's consciousness is its guiding light. It drives the plant's goals and purposes. Now, it's important to know if the plant has a conscious and the human has a conscious, we could overlap those consciousnesses. And that's where we're able to collaborate with the trees and the plants and help heal them and help repair their internal functionality. All right. But now what's that consciousness? Like I said, it drives their goals and purposes. So what do I mean by consciousness? First of all, I want to tell you that read you a story or a poem or a saying quote by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's called Eat, Pray, Love. I want to give her credit for this, okay, because this is beautiful. They say that an oak tree is brought into creation by 2 forces at the same time. Obviously, there's the acorn from which it all begins, the seed which holds all the promise and potential which grows into the tree. Everybody can see that. But only a few can recognize that there is another force operating here as well, The future tree itself, which wants so badly to exist that it pulls the acorn into being, drawing the seedling forth with longing out of the void, guiding the evolution from nothingness to maturity. From which it was born. That future tree itself is the consciousness of the tree. All right. Consciousness comes before form. Okay. That's the important piece here. Okay. Comes before form. All right. What else? Consciousness is the guiding light, contains their goals. What do we mean by goals? I'll just give you an example. This is a blue spruce. Did some work on many years ago. It was treated in autumn. And what did it tell me you wanted? I want to be a fully grown blue spruce. Okay. Put on new branches, new growth, fill in, and be a fully grown blue spruce. Okay. And that's what it made the following spring. Okay. So the consciousness drives their goals. It helps the trees and the plants reach their goals. All right. And it also is, it helps them with their ideal design or blueprint. Okay. I want to be an oak tree. I don't want to be an apple tree. Okay. That's the ideal design. It's also the guiding light for their innate potentials. I want to put on acorns as an oak tree. I don't want to put on apples like an apple tree. Okay. That's the difference. All right. And they all have a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Even the weeds that you see on the ground, people holler about weeds all the time. We call them unwanted plants. Okay. But what's their purpose? Cover the earth, hold the earth down. That's what they're doing. Okay. They have a purpose. All right. So what else does consciousness drive? Fall preparation for winter, storing food, getting the food into the buds for next year's growth. In the spring, getting the flow into the tree, so on and so forth. Okay, all of those. Here's an important piece. Plants perceive choices. This is that consciousness now. Plants perceive choices, then make something like decisions based on their goals, ideals, and innate potentials. Take, for example, this is a willow tree, okay? Said, look, those branches are all plugged up, okay? They were in very bad shape when they were transplanting, okay? But the consciousness of the tree says, those branches are all plugged up. I'm not going to fuss with those. I can send up new branches much easier using a lot less energy. So I'm going to abandon those and I'm going to send up new branches. That's what this tree looks like today. We just took this picture last week. Okay. Astonishing. Okay. 2 years. That's what that tree looks like. All right.
So people can collaborate with tree and plant consciousness. The Institute of Noetic Sciences puts this in their position statement. Consciousness is regarded as the most basic component of reality, more basic than physical concepts like matter, energy, space, and time. So consciousness comes before form. Forms like our human forms, like tree forms, like any kind of form, consciousness comes first, and consciousness can perceive and influence things non-locally. So what we're suggesting is that human and plant consciousness can overlap. So I have a variety of images here. I hope that one of them will appeal to you, because I'm trying to show that information can be shared and exchanged. And for people, this involves the use of right brain intuitive skills, not left brain logic. But what is this like for the tree and plant? Well, from what we can tell, this is how they operate normally.
Also, trees operate in community. Very important piece here. Okay. Everybody thinks, yeah, okay. See, in the trees world, one trunk is not a tree. Okay. It's multiple trunks. That's the tree. Okay. So they operate in community. Conventional beliefs is yeah, they communicate by roots touching and mycorrhizae connections. Okay. Yeah, fine. They can get their arms around, science can get its arms around that. That's something they can touch and feel. So, okay, they like that. I'm not saying that's not true. It's fine. But really what happens is trees share vibrational songs or signals with each other's consciousness. That's what they do. We can't hear it, but they're sending out songs to each other, okay, constantly. All right, sending out message to each other constantly through song. And what's the indigenous people? They used to dance to these songs. Another important piece is here. I'm going to tell you this piece. All right. When a tree is sick, it sings an offbeat song. All right. What's the offbeat song? Okay. The offbeat song, it's asking for help from the community. What's that attract? The insect or diseases. Okay. So everybody says, well, the tree is sick because of the insect or disease. No, the tree is sick on the inside. Got to fix the inside of that tree. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. So if you want to see more of the relevant sciences, go to partnerwithnature.org and search on the words reading list.
So as I talked about, stress disconnects internal functionality. I already showed you the example in this circulation, but let's talk about this off the left there, the sick tree. If a tree can't make enough food for itself in photosynthesis, and the circulation isn't operating correctly, it can't get enough food out to the growing point for cell division to operate correctly. Therefore, you have broken feedback loops and disconnected network patterns in that tree. So what happens? Stress to stress. Let me show you, just give you a quick briefing thing, what happens, how stress disconnects internal functionality. First stress comes along, hot summer. Okay, what's the tree do? It compensates for it. Second stress comes along, cold winter. What's the tree do? Compensates for it. Third stress comes along, poor pruning, human damage, something like that. What happens to the tree? That knocks the tree's ability to compensate. Okay, the plant is trapped. The only way you're going to repair that tree is to help that tree is to fix it from the inside out. 3 or more stresses, cumulative, lead to decline. Okay, that's the important piece here. You have 3 or more stresses on a tree, it's going to lead to decline in that tree. It's going down unless you go out and repair the internal functionality of that tree. Why can't trees and plants heal themselves? A little like humans. Well, first of all, they can sometimes. Okay, but a little bit like humans, very often. When they get sick, they get stuck or confused. They don't know what to do first. They can't manage their inner resource sequence of systems not in sync. Interconnections are broken. They can't grow, and then they go into decline cycle. Again, you have this cycle going on here in the illustration. The practical actions, as we said before, that's half. Okay, yeah, that'll help with climate change, but that's not going to heal the sick trees. Okay, and what we're talking about is using our mindful methods or our collaborative treatments to help heal sick trees. Let me give you an example of it. This is a little like connecting the dots. Look over here to the healthy tree on the right. Okay, there, the tree is producing enough food for itself with photosynthesis. It can break down that food. It has enough food to break down, to drive circulation and circulate some of that food around to drive. There's an energy release that takes place when it breaks down that food, and that drives a circulation, and then you're circulating that food and fluid out to the growing points, and that's where cell division can take place. So then you have this complete feedback loop, the ability of the tree to grow and be healthy. So what do we say? We believe this is humanity's last hope. Our unique systems involve consciousness-based collaborative methods that heal trees and plants' internal functionality from the inside out, coming from their point of view, not human-centric attitudes.
Sorry, well, I was answering a text.
Yep.
a chat.
Okay, so again, this is another example. Moving from blocked circulation to open circulation using these consciousness-based collaborative healing methods. Okay, we're able to do that, to get that circulation going. That's the first thing in any tree or plant. get its circulation moving. That's one of the first things that has to happen, because very often that's a big problem. And different species have different problems. I can tell you oak trees, big problem. You see those little X's right at the soil line? Okay, so a tree is pulling up water through the intercellular spaces initially before it gets into the tubes. The xylem tubes carry fluids up, phloem carries food and fluids down. All right, so it's intercellular spaces are taking place, and that's water is moving across the intercellular spaces. All right, first. Then what happens is it moves into those tubes, into those xylem tubes. All right, and so what happens very often, you get sudden changes in temperature, shifts, and it get extreme heat. Okay, and what happens right there? That's where things get blocked. So then what's happening is then it's more blockages occur all the way, because the tree is not getting fluid, nice fluid moving initially right from at the formation of those tubes. It's not getting fluid movement up there. And then you get blockages all over the tree. So it's important to clear those blockages and get that cleared. All right. So this is a primary example. All right. This is a primary example. Okay. Extreme, this tree was in a greenhouse in Toronto. Here's an example of what's going on. This tree had extreme cold. Okay. The heat went off in the wintertime. All right. There you go. In a very northern climate. Excess insecticide, poor soil, excess water. Oh, you can see that. I was teaching a class, and the people in the greenhouse said they've got caught on to what I was teaching. They said, "Oh, can you help us with this tree?" Now, this is a tropical tree in a greenhouse in Toronto. Got cold? That's going to hurt that tree. And that's what was going on for that tree. I put my hands on this tree, and I literally felt the energy of that tree shift. I went back there 5 months later, or whatever that was later, and I had no idea. I knew that tree was healthy. I never called anybody. I just knew that tree was healthy again. I went back because I wanted to get a picture of that tree. All right. And you can see what a healthy tree it is. Go ahead. Next shot, please. Okay. This tree was planted the year before in 2017. Okay. It was planted about a month after it was planted. The leaves turned yellow. The leaves fell off. Okay. Wondered, it got to be May of this next year, May of 2018. Wondered, is this tree going to leaf out or not? Put my hands on the tree. Tree says, I don't know. If I choose the wrong path to healing, then I'm a goner. Okay. So maybe I'll just sit here. Sound familiar? It's what humans do. Get stuck. All right. So, okay. So I worked with the tree. I said, okay, look, I'll help you work out a path to healing. We'll collaborate this together, this path to healing. So we did. When I was done, I said, okay, now will you implement that path to healing? The tree says, I don't know. Because if I do and it's wrong, it doesn't work, I'm a goner. I said, look, give it a try. Come on, give it one more try. The tree said, okay, I'll give it a try. And then you can see in the photo what happened 3 days after the tree started to bud out. And then you can see about a month later what that tree looked like. Okay, again, they help the tree make the decision to take the path to healing. Consciousness aligns with that path to healing. So it's my consciousness aligning with the consciousness of the tree. Okay, it's that overlap in that consciousness that helps collaborate, we collaborate and we give the tree a path to healing. And what we're going to give you today is some very simple, easy methods to do this same thing. Is based on the work that we've done. And you can also help heal trees and also help them protect themselves from these climate extremes. Go ahead, Basha. So this is another tree. This is in the Chicago area. Reason I picked this, emerald ash borer is all over the East Coast, primarily. Eastern part of the United States, some in the western part of the United States as well. Ash trees are a hardwood tree used in tennis rackets, whole variety of baseball bats, whole variety of things like that. Well, the emerald ash borer came in and was wiping out these trees. And the conventional wisdom is they see the tree that looks like this on the left. Oh, that tree's a goner, take it down. No, not necessarily. Work with the insect, work with the disease. Okay. Work with the tree. Okay. Help the tree get its parts, systems, and functions back connected again. The insects finish its life cycle, moves out. The tree is there, get its back, its parts and functions working together again. And then you can see what's possible with the tree. And that's what we do by restoring that, bring that tree back to health again. Okay. It is possible to do this working from the inside out. Go ahead. This is another tree. In these fire areas, we don't just work on one tree. We work on groups of trees. Okay. And, but what we do is earmark certain trees. All right. This is the tree that we're going to earmark to keep track of. All right. You can see how hot that fire is. You can see by the plastic road marker. Okay. Just how that melted. Okay. Just how hot that fire was. If the tree is still alive, got some life in it, we can help it. Okay. It might be burnt. If it's crispy burned, okay, what we call crispy burned all the way through. Look, I can't bring back dead trees. All right. But if the tree has some life force in it, it is possible to bring them back. You can see what happened in May, and then you can see what the tree looked like in the following years. We help the trees manage their inner resources to sustain growth and not fail. You see, what happens is the tree wants to grow. It's still got a life force in it. It wants to grow. But very often what happens is the tree will fail because its inner resources aren't connected. Okay, they aren't all connected back up again. Those feedback loops and network patterns aren't connected. So we need to help the tree get those done. Then they can grow again and not fail. This is what happens. Get those network patterns connected, getting those feedback loops connected. The tree starts sending out new shoots right through cracks in the bark. And then that's what brings about the tree again. All right, go. This is the Caldor fire, burned in autumn of 2021. We were there in November 2021, then visited again in 2022, okay, in spring. All right, this is what was going on for those trees, all right? So, first of all, look, they weren't making enough food for themselves, okay? That's the key piece here. They just weren't. Pollution, climate change, sick inside, whatever the case might have been. Therefore, they weren't able to break down that food, drive the circulation. Therefore, they had less growth, then less health. With less health, they're making less food. They were caught in this feedback loops. Okay, that's where those trees were caught. All right, so we work with them, and we work with them to give them a path to healing. It's a collaborative thing. It's our overlap in consciousness. It's a collaborative overlap in consciousness. We're working with these trees. All right. So we asked them, try using some stored food. They say, okay, yeah, I can do that. Okay. Use that to drive that break down that food, drive some circulation. Okay. Yeah. Then they drive some circulation. They can start to differentiate some new tissues, some new needles or leaves, whatever the case might be. From there, they can make more food in those leaves and needles, and they put some out. All right. That'll drive some more health. Okay. Now, for the first few loops, they're going to have to use some stored food. But after a while, when these leaves and needles, they get a few more of those, they can use some of that food, and that'll help drive this whole cycle. Okay. And that's what brings the tree back to life again, makes it a nice, healthy tree. Let me tell you one other point about this. All right. It's right about in here, in this break down the food, drive the circulation. The tree sees an opportunity. Okay. It's like, okay, I can grow. They grab onto it. The consciousness of that tree shifts. Okay. Absolutely shifts. And it says, I see the opportunity to grow again. All right. And it takes that. Now, humans get all into their emotions and this, that, the other thing, all kinds of stuff. Trees don't get into that. They grab onto the opportunity. And I got to tell you what, it's about, usually in a tree, it's about 2 or 3 things that need to get connected inside of that tree. And there might be 20 things wrong inside of that tree, but the tree will repair the other 20 things. It knows the direction it's going in. That consciousness has grabbed on. Okay, consciousness says, okay, I got a path to healing now to reach these goals that I want to reach. Okay, I can reach those goals. It grabs onto those opportunities and goes to it, implements that. Go ahead.
You want to talk about the one you did today?
No, just go.
Okay.
Okay, this is Greenville, California. This is the Dixie Fire, and we were in there in October of last year, and then we went back again this year. Okay, but the first visit was in October. If you don't think that fire was hot, look at that trailer sitting out. And that trailer was sitting in the middle of the parking lot. That wasn't around a bunch of burnt trees. That was sitting out in the middle of the parking lot. So just let you know how hot that fire was. Again, we earmark certain trees. We're treating all those trees. Trees operate in community. Remember that. Okay. So we're treating and then the communities, you got different layers of communities. So we're treating the communities trees. Okay. So what's going on here? Now, Basha is going to show you. This is Basha on our return visit. This is her taking some pictures, and this is what happened. Okay, you see this differentiation of tissue, the path to healing. The tree found a path to healing. We gave it a path to healing in the fall. Okay, it wasn't going to grow in the fall. It was going to wait to spring, but we knew that. Okay, that's why we went in the fall, and then we came back in spring. Okay, make sure they can implement that path to healing. So, yep, and it actually was. Okay. And the internal functionality flowing and that avoids failure and allows for new growth. Okay. And that's what we want to have happen inside of these trees. You can tell I'm pretty enthusiastic about it. I love these trees. Okay. I'm a tree lover. I want to work on these trees. I want to save every tree I can. I see the opportunity because these are many, many trees. These are communities of trees. And I hope that at the end today, you will take the opportunity to also join me, because we will give you these healing methods that you can literally go out and do with the trees. They're based on my work. I know they're going to help the trees. And I'm just hoping that people will do this. Thank you.
So we've had these successful results. We've been doing this work all over the U.S. for 20 years. Unfortunately, our international travel was postponed by COVID, but we're hoping to get on this as soon as we can. So look out, there'll be more. All right, so what can you do partnering with nature using the 4 C's? Well, you've already had the connection experience, observation, appreciation, inner quiet. You came to the second C, which is communicate, by asking questions like, what is your life like? And exchanging messages. So how does collaboration happen? So we collaborate by asking questions and getting answers. Ask what questions you might ask. What do I ask? Well, you could ask the tree, well, what do you need? But we don't recommend asking that question because you might be invisibly human-centric. You might get into that old mindset of control. We remind you of the differentiation, working on the outside versus inside out. Now, we're not saying that trees might not occasionally need fertilizer or products or pruning, but that's not the question that we recommend. So when you're collaborating, you want to ask, what is your life like? What's going on with your health? Very important question. And you might ask yes, no type questions. And remember, you're doing this in that bioenergy overlap and in a consciousness overlap. So how do you ask a question to a tree? It sounds a lot like the connection experience. Observe, appreciate, find inner quiet. Ask, what is your life like? What's going on with your health? And get your answers in that intuitive, inner listening way with your heart. You might want to take some notes and then say, thank you. I am your partner. what kind of answers can you get from the tree? You might hear, I want to grow more roots. I need to make more food. I need better circulation, better flow of foods and fluids. I want a stronger connection to other trees.
And it's important to keep these answers in your consciousness when you're doing the mindful methods we show you. Okay. Very important to do that because that will help heal the tree. Okay.
Knowing what the tree already says it needs and wants. So you might say, how can I heal you? And I'm going to give you the answer to this quiz. It's with mindful methods. Now, let me just pause for a moment and say, I've been watching the chat a little bit, and I see that many people have other suggestions for all the different things you can do. And yes, those are all fine, but we're recommending mindful methods as consciousness-based collaborative healing methods. And this is why. They're visualizations, healing whispers, inner journeys. They're simple, quick, and easy. But the most important point is that our mindful methods are botanically and physiologically correct information for the plant kingdom. You're not just throwing energy at them.
And I've shown you this already with the physiology of the trees, how we work directly with the physiology. It is physiologically correct and botanically correct. Again, it's not just throwing energy. It's working with the exact physiology of the tree to help it repair those parts, systems, and functions, get them back connected again, get them all working together again.
Yes, and
get those network patterns working again. Go ahead.
And the point is that you're collaborating. It's very, very easy for us humans to be human-centric and to think that we're doing a good thing and to want to help, but to do it from the human point of view by saying, here, take this. Well, you wouldn't like that if someone did that to you. You want to work in collaboration. You want to be asking the tree. That's the important thing, asking the tree, and then making these humble requests and messages from the heart. So we ask this question again. Can humanity save trees and restore livability to the planet?
And we're saying, yeah, we think so, or we believe so. Look, but again, you can do all the right things, all the practical things, but got to heal the already stressed or declining trees. That's the most important piece.
And we're reviewing the other half of what's needed, declaring, I am a partner, have the direct experiential connection, and using consciousness-based, collaborative, that's the key word, healing methods. And we suggest that this is our last hope.
And again, there's a global climate emergency here. There's an opportunity to use this consciousness to start restoring a livable planet. And what we've done is we've put out a free mini course, and you can find it at this connection here. And Basha will also put it into the chat. https:// BioBalyaInstituteSchool.teachable.com. Here's the thing. It's a short course, okay? But it has several mindful methods in it. First mindful methods are connection. Next set of mindful methods are about healing the tree. The third set is about helping protect them from drought and excess heat. There's only 7 mindful methods total. I think it sounds like a lot, but we make it quite easy for you. If everybody would in the world would go out and do these, it would be a big help to all the trees and the plants. It would heal the trees and the plants, so that help protect them from these climate extremes. It's a global opportunity to help these trees and plants.
So you can do this and help trees protect themselves from climate extremes with mindful methods. We feel like we can't say this enough. So we feel it's humanity's last hope, because all those practical and technological things, yeah, they might work, they might not work in time, but we want partnering with nature and everyone using consciousness to start restoring a livable planet. And a little more information, we're soon going to be posting more courses. This first one we've just told you about and linked you to in the chat, that's up there because it's just such a current emergency, and that's free. We're going to be posting more courses, a foundation of understanding and specific climate situation courses as well.
And the foundation will give you more complete information about our work. It'll also give you more healing whispers and mindful methods, and give you a more complete understanding of everything.
So who's going to do this? Well, if not each of us, then who? And if not now, then when? You are that hope. And I'm watching the chat. We so appreciate your enthusiasm that I see coming up in the chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we give great thanks to the spirit of life in all beings. And you can reach us at these emails. Mine is naturepartner@partnerwithnature.org.
And mine is whisper@thetreewhisper.com. But I want to tell you something. Okay. I don't know if a few of you may watch me looking down at my screen. It is raining here in New Jersey right now. We live in New Jersey. We haven't had rain. We had 100-degree temperatures. We don't see 100-degree temperatures. 102-degree temperatures this weekend. Okay. For 4 or 5 days. We haven't had any rain for I don't know how long. We had very heavy spring rains, and then it just shut off. The trees are drying up. Everything is drying up. Everything is hurting. And we are getting rain right now. And I am absolutely excited about it because I have some trees that I care about so dearly near me, and they're going to get some rain on them finally.
And preview of coming attractions in the foundation and some of the climate specific courses that we'll be teaching. We actually will be talking about how trees call forth the rain when they're properly connected
and healed.
So that's a little teaser for the future. Yes, healed and connected. So we are open to conversation with Jim, to questions, whatever we can do to continue.
Thank you, Basha. Thank you, Jim. Exciting and illuminating as always. And I can testify, everyone, because they came to our house, I think it was last year in the spring, and tended to one of our bushes. And the bush is now flowering and very, very happy. And so I can testify that this stuff works, actually. And, many, many questions, but just one question. Given your experience of trees, what would you say that trees are offering into the larger ecosystem? There are a number of people, for example, at Damanhur in northern Italy, who also have a very deep connection with trees. And they say that trees hold the memory of life, and therefore cutting down the trees is essentially cutting out and off the memory that life has of its origins. But that's a kind of a Damanhurian point of view. Mm-hmm. But for the two of you, how would you answer that question of the unique role or niche that trees have in the larger ecosystem?
Well, one thing I can tell you is like the older trees, they bring the wisdom in for the younger trees coming in. Okay, they bring in that wisdom. And I'll tell you the story about this. I was working on this large beech tree in a park, and the guy, these people had no idea what I did. And the forest guys there, they had no idea what I was doing. They wanted to save this tree. So I said, I'm going to do this. Well, all of a sudden, the guy comes up to me one day and says, "Would the tree like buddies?" And I said, "Yeah, we're like buddies." And he said, "Oh, well, we can plant some beech trees near this tree in this meadow here." I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So went out with them. We picked the trees, we dug them, and we moved them into the meadow. And the whole idea is that, and that's what the big tree said, is, look, I can share my wisdom with these smaller trees, okay? And they'll carry that wisdom forward, okay? And so I think that kind of carries what you're saying, that that brings that information forward, that wisdom that they have. It brings it forward and keeps it going. So when you lose a tree, the other younger ones have it. Now, if we start cutting down too many trees like we are, or losing too many like you are, then yes, you lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
Okay. You lose a lot of that wisdom. Okay. And so, yeah,
they're anchors in the ecosystem. Like oak trees, there's so many insects and organisms in the canopies. They're anchors in the ecosystem, and by removing one piece from the ecosystem, it's like a house of cards. It just all falls in. So I mean, we need trees. We need trees in every possible way, in every physical way for our well-being, and every metaphorical way as well for our spirits.
Yeah, Basha brings in that excellent example, like the oak trees. Okay, an oak tree has just lots of insects living in it. Okay, and they are all good because they eat the ones that aren't so good. Okay, but oak trees especially do carry that. And so, it helps keep this whole ecosystem in balance. So that's part of it too. So it's information, wisdom, and balance as well. So what you're saying is exactly correct.
Speak a little bit about this notion of the mother tree, because that seems to be a very popular awareness that's gaining currency around people appreciating the trees more deeply, is understanding that trees have mother trees that kind of, as you're saying, guide and nurture all the littler trees that are around. And so say more about the mother tree.
We certainly appreciate the popularity of this concept and the popularity that the author has brought to this idea. However, it's not just one tree. You see, trees operate in community. They have no ego. They have no, they are completely community oriented. There is no I in the tree's world.
Good point.
And they're sharing information. Okay, that community is sharing information. We don't see a hierarchy. I guess that's what we're trying to tell you. We don't see a hierarchy in the trees.
Yeah.
It's yes, the older trees can share information with the younger trees, but we don't see a hierarchy of any sense in there. Okay, that's what we're kind of telling you.
So it's a collective
yes
neural network without a center and without a periphery. It's a shared consciousness and communication and nurturing system.
That's it. Exactly. And that's why I was saying before, one in the trees world, one trunk is not a tree. It's multiple trunks. Okay. That's what's important. Yeah. That's the community. And there's a community of, you have a community of oaks, a community of maples, a community of ash trees. Yes. But you also have communities that take in all of the different species. So another level. So there's levels of communities too.
I see.
Okay.
So if you have different kinds of trees in the forest, they're identifying with the similar trees, but there's a larger framework where all the trees and presumably the little mycelium, the mushrooms and all these others are all interacting together.
All interacting. That's exactly right.
We see these as massive network patterns. So no hierarchy, but like we showed that very simplified little 3-circle diagram with the larger circle encompassing that. Well, now put that on steroids, so every living being has these feedback loops and network patterns within, but then those feedback loops and network patterns continue into every level of the ecosystem. We talk in our courses about holon levels. So everything is interconnected at every holon level. It's infinite.
Well, Kat Haber is asking an interesting question. What happens when a broad swath in a forest is lost due to clear cutting or a fire that just rips through, what happens to the collective consciousness in that situation?
Good question.
Good question. So first thing you have to do is bring the health of the trees back again. Okay, that internal functionality of the trees back again. And then they can begin to bring that, they can start to bring that collective approach back together again. Okay, but I see first bringing the health of the trees back first. When a fire comes through, they get totally disconnected. They get disconnected internally and with the community. Everything gets disconnected. It's shock. Okay. And when we get in there, it's like getting them internally connected. Then they're able to do some of the more external community connection again. Okay. And it's at a certain phase. I know exactly when it happens. We call it community, partnership, balance, synchronicity, and synergy. We call it.
Connection.
And it's when it's about the point they start. They got to get on some leaves. They got to start to grow again a little bit. And when they can do that first really good differentiation of roots, xylem and phloem, vascular tissue, and leaves again, when they can do all three, it's kind of right at that point they have enough food that they pull into what I call as functional connectivity. They're all connected, food, fluid, they're all connected. And then they bring about that community comes through, and then that connection, partnership, balance, synchronicity, and synergy all come together too. And that synergy piece is very important. It's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Okay, very important.
That's how we've actually named our school, BioBalia. It's short for biology and balance, but what it really means is the higher level that occurs when all that synergy is happening, and then the new whole arises. There is emergence then of the new whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. So that would be obviously what we would shoot for in a situation where there has been trauma, like fires, where they get sufficiently reconnected to become a whole again, a whole forest again.
So it's all part of the path to healing. It's, yes, you're feeling the individual trees, but we're also we're holding community and connection and partnership in our consciousness to connect that as well, to bring that all back together as well, because no one tree is going to survive just sitting there by itself. It's not. They live in community. Okay. And that's all part of that. And how do you reach that? That's that path to healing that we work with the trees in. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope we answered your question a little bit anyway.
No, very, very much so.
Yeah.
And then just a final question, and then Basha, you can maybe tell us about tomorrow's session.
Oh.
And that is, when a human is seeking to heal a tree or communicate with the tree, I'm interested in this notion that the trees are actually singing to each other. Are there, and I was sort of thinking, that when I go up to my little oak tree that you've been to at the top of the hill and commune from time to time, I kind of sit there and commune. But what's occurring to me, given what you were saying today, that is there a particular kind of, like whale songs or tree songs, is there a way of drumming? Does that assist in the healing of the tree, or is this purely consciousness healing? I mean, do you ever sing to a tree, Jim?
Yeah. I think singing to a tree, any attention that we can give to a tree is a good idea. So singing, drumming, I think to hear that signal or vibration that they share, we have to hear it in our hearts. We don't hear it in our ears. We have to hear that in our hearts.
Yeah, so it's at a frequency that the human ear can't hear.
I'm
So
not
there's a
even
Right.
Yes, yes, it's
Absolutely.
in a consciousness frequency. It's not even like, they say dogs can hear high frequencies, humans can't. I don't even think it's quite like that. It's more of a signal in consciousness that occurs. So you would have to hear it with your consciousness and with your heart. But if you want to sing to a tree, absolutely go for it.
or drumming.
Or drumming.
They love the attention. Okay. They
Mhm.
absolutely love the attention. Give me, yeah, fine. You're giving me some attention. They love it. Okay. Trees love it. And I got to tell you what, there's the other side of that too, because the tree is probably working on you at the same time.
Mhm.
Okay. That's the other
yeah,
side.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
The
they
tree
are.
is working on you. I guarantee it's working on you, trying to help you if you got anything going on in your body.
They are
working
very
on you.
generous healers.
Yes.
And just a little comment about that. We fall very easily into being human centric. Oh, it's all about
Yeah.
me, heal me, do
Yeah.
something nice for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
We have to return the favor. It has to be mutual.
Exactly.
Yes, it has to be a two-way street. That's really where we come from. Reciprocity. Yes, indeed.
Well, it says Maureen Edwards is just saying in the chat, we breathe the trees and the trees breathe us.
Yes.
That's what we
right.
want. That's the
That's
synergy
really it.
yes.
we want.
Mhm.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And something else came in and then it left.
Right. That happens to the trees too.
Yeah.
So Basha, tell us about tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to focus a little bit more on climate extremes and really what trees have to say about their lives in climate extremes, and a little bit more about how we can use mindful methods to specifically heal them in that situation. We will cover a few of the similar things for new people who might come tomorrow, but we're going to go more into the situation of climate extremes.
And you'll do a meditation.
And there'll be another meditation
tomorrow.
And so today we gave a little more of the practical side of things and more practical recommendations that people can do and to know about tree stresses and stuff like that. So tomorrow it'll be a little bit bigger.
Good. Well, God knows we need to know more about the trees in relationship to climate extremis.
Yes.
That is now our world. And just as a final comment and thought, as you've been describing the trees, I know I'm probably being very human centric, but you sound like you're describing people. Trees are conscious beings and they care and they like attention and they want to communicate. And when they, are ill or they have a little boo-boo, they want someone.
They want some attention. That's right.
Yes,
that's exactly right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And oftentimes with people, all you need to do is just sit with someone and say hello, and that generates a new spirit in the other person, and they feel better and
That's
healing.
right.
So I think in the end, it's just loving the trees as in the same spirit as we know the trees love us, and just to feel it as consciously as we can.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Love is a real important piece of this whole thing.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
It's we talk about the 4 C's: connect, communicate, collaborate, co-create. But I'd have to say that love is at the basis of it all. And yes, I'm very cautious about using a lot of human words and projecting human qualities. And we've spent 20 years really trying to differentiate that, to stay away from that.
Sure.
And what we come back around to is, we're a lot like them. they're a lot like us.
Yeah.
That's
And we breathe together. I mean,
And we
it's
breathe
so
together.
extraordinary that
yeah.
yeah.
We
they
depend
breathe
on
out,
them.
we breathe in.
Yeah. And we
so,
depend on their oxygen to breathe. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. This has been splendid as usual. And we'll see you here again tomorrow. And I hope that you can join our after chat session. You'll see the link in the chat box. You received it from Matt in the Zoom link. I know the group would love to hear more tree stories.
Oh, that's great. There it is. I see it in the chat. Great.
So thank you, everyone. That'll do it for us for today. This has been
Jim.
the first of 2 sessions on trees. We love trees here at Humanity Rising and look forward to Basha and Jim again tomorrow. Love you both dearly. Thank you so much.
Jim. Thank you.
Thank you,
Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you.